Welcome to Body Innovations. This is Program 1, Lower Body Series. We're going to demonstrate a series of exercises for the lower body, and Kelly will be demonstrating the advanced version and Gina will be demonstrating the modified beginner version. So to start with, I'm going to step back here and we're going to start with a single leg squat. So Gina's going to put one foot on the chair. This is to keep her nice and stable. And Kelly has got her foot, the top of her foot, on the ball. So in this advanced version, you're going to keep a neutral spine and you're going to sit back towards your leg. And we're going to do 12 of these. So as they sit back, I want you to sit back, keep your spine in a neutral position and stepping back up. So you come up nice and tall and then you sit back. Now, as you're doing this, you're really watching that you're able to keep your spine in a neutral position, very important. Good stability through your foot and your knee alignment. So your kneecap should be centered over the first and second toe. So as we're going through this series, Gina is able to really make sure that this knee position isn't moving, so it's staying right over top of that first, second toe, and she's not leaning forward with it, she's backing up into her foot. Let's try two more. Now we're going to switch legs. And this time as well, I'm going to have Gina demonstrate with her stick. We're going to put her stick on her back. Now, when the stick is on your back, I want you to just be aware that, actually, I'm going to just turn you slightly here, Gina. I'm going to put this chair just like that so people can have a better view of this. Can you find it? Find that chair. Okay, perfect. Just to increase the challenge for you there. So when the stick is on her back, you're going to notice your head and her shoulders and her tailbone. She has a space under the lumbar spine and her neck. These are the two curves, natural curves of her spine. Those points are all going to stay the same, and she's going to sit back toward her hips. So the movement in this move is through the hip. She's not bending through the back. She moves through her hips, keeping her spine in the neutral position. So really working with the core and the back here, maintaining that good stable position. Let's demonstrate it horribly. So what could happen here is all of this coming away. So she comes off the stick in each end and she's bending here. Now let's go back to good form, as opposed to staying at the hip motion where the movement is happening through her ankle, her knee, her hip, and really keeping that back in good position. Let's try a last one. How do they feel, ladies? Good. All right, and then relax. So with the next position, we're going into now the hinge with the knee bend. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to use Kelly back on the ball, and we're going to put her foot back on the ball, and Gina, your foot's coming back on the chair. So she's going to have one foot on the chair. So again, you're balancing on one leg. Your spine is nice and tall. Again, the movement happens through the hips. So you're going to really engage through your abdominals here. Now I want you to keep your stable leg, the leg that's on the floor. Keep that knee soft, okay? It's going to be slightly bent. And I want you to hinge forward from the hips. So you're moving from the hip as you go forward and then come back up tall. So you're actually leveraging your torso over the hip and then coming back up. So the back position through the lumbar spine, you keep that nice neutral curve. I like you to think of your sitting bones as coming up or your tailbone as coming up, so that as you feel that hinging motion, you'll feel a tremendous amount of work right through your hip. Can you feel that, ladies? Mm-hmm. Lots of work. Let's demonstrate it wrong. Let's move from the middle of your back and notice they're moving and bending here. You're not going to feel any work happening through your hip. Now, if you have a bad hip, this could be the way you're bending. So let's go back to perfect form. So notice with Gina, she's using a stick on the ground, and with Kelly, she's got the ball, which adds a little bit more instability, as well as having her stick in the front. So she's got no balance to help her along with that. Let's try one more, and now we're going to switch you to the other leg. So you're going to notice I've kept you busy really for almost a minute there. So I'm not really thinking about the repetition at this point. I am thinking about the endurance. I'm really forcing you for that minute to think about your hip and how you're moving, and I'm fatiguing those stabilizing muscles through that leg and hip, and making you really think about it. These are just basically the same muscles. You could be using this movement all the time. Every time you bend over, you could be bending wrong. If you're bending wrong all the time, doesn't matter if you go to the gym and do it right for 8 reps 3 times, and did your 3 perfect sets, and then spend the rest of your day bending incorrectly and not managing your biomechanics properly, you're gonna run into trouble. So again, really working that hip mobility here as well. Can you feel it through the hips? Mm-hmm. Lots of glute action there as you're going up and down. Good. Let's try 2 more. Lots of balance. Now pause here. Okay, let's bring you up tall. And I'm gonna bring Gina, I'm gonna change your position for you, Gina. And I just wanna turn you this way and do the same thing. So I just wanna demonstrate here. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing, and I want you to go into the hinge as she goes forward, and I want you to notice this knee position. It's nice and centered over that first and second toe as she does it. Good. Try 1 more. Good. And then this time show it incorrectly, so just let your knee fall inward perhaps. That's usually very common. We see this often. Good. And then go back, show it correctly 1 more time. And then coming back up. Perfect. Great, ladies. So with our next exercise, we're going to pull this chair just out of the way there. And we're going to go back to your ball. So you're going to grab your stability ball, and Kelly's going to grab a bar. Oh, actually, let's use the Gertie ball. Put it between your legs. So it's going to go right between your ankles. There you go. And let's back you up a little bit. For you, Kelly. There you go. And Gina is not going to use a bar. She's going to do the beginner version. So again, Kelly's using the Gertie ball. So you're going to come forward over top of your ball so that just your toes are touching. So a lot of people here feel very uncomfortable on a ball because they have pressure on their tummy. So if this is the case, keep going a little bit further until you find that comfy spot. I really prefer the toes to touch the ground, but if necessary, just come off of that area that's bothering you. Now I want really good shoulder stability. So let's show a collapsed position, ladies. You do not want these shoulders caving in. And can anybody show me some hyperextended elbows? Like, you don't want these elbows turning out like so. Very bad. So eyes of the elbows always face each other. You have good shoulder stability. Turn on the serratus. Your abdominals are engaged. Okay. And now you're going to, with the beginner version, start with 1 single leg, lift it up till it's parallel. You're going to feel this working at the smile of your butt, and then lower it down. And then alternate with the other leg coming up. Perfect. And Kelly's demonstrating the double leg version, so putting the ball between, always working again right from where the glute meets the hamstring at that smile. You always want that smile to be in there. Again, we're using the 9-inch air ball. This could be a slightly heavier ball. You could use an ankle weight at the same time. So we're raising it up and down. How do they feel, ladies? Okay. Yeah. Excellent work here. One thing to notice when you are using the ball, Kelly has excellent form. She's not doing some funky things like turning her feet outward and inward. I want those legs nice and long, toes out toward the back. Feeling that nice work. Legs are straight, knees are not bending. Good. And when you're working with the single leg version, so always making sure that the leg comes straight back and not out on the side at an angle. So often you might see this leg coming way out here. I want it straight out. So depending on if you had, say, a weakness through your muscles, those legs might not be going straight back out where I want them. So kind of be aware, feel where your body is in space. Now come back to rest and relax. Okay. Okay. How'd that feel? Good. Good? Perfect. Now I'm going to bring you up on top of the ball. So now you're sitting on the ball, and I want Kelly, you're going to use this bar. This is a 4-pound weighted bar. You could also use a hand weight. The nice thing about the bar that I do like, you can get them in various lengths depending on how long they are. It adds a lot of leveraging to this particular exercise. This is 4 pounds. It's a shorter bar. And Gina's going to demonstrate with no bar. So what we're going to do is roll you out. So you're going to roll out so the head and shoulders are supported on the ball. when you're in this position, we want to make sure that your knees or your ankles are underneath your knees and that your legs are hip width apart. I don't want them spread out in a big, huge, giant V, making yourself a tripod. As well, head and shoulders are supported on the ball. So Gina, can you come back and demonstrate how it could be wrong? Come backwards. Notice here her chin is looking tilted backwards. Very bad form. This is going to cause all kinds of neck and shoulder problems. Then go the other way. So sometimes when you get on the ball, people will tuck the chin down, and this is very bad support. So bringing it back into the neutral position. Head and shoulders are supported. Your nose goes up toward the ceiling. Okay, your hips are lifted. If you start getting into difficulty with pain in the back, you should feel your glutes working at the smile, then you can drop your hips slightly. Also make sure you do not hyperextend through the low back. Can anybody show me a hyperextension? Look at that bowing, we do not want that. Drop slightly. So you're in a nice formation through here. And then you're gonna bring both arms up toward the ceiling, okay? And we're gonna turn the palms in so the palms face each other. Excellent. Now what you're going to do is take that left arm out toward the side, and as it comes out toward the side, the other arm stays where it is and bringing it back up. Now the nice thing about this exercise is that it doesn't actually look all that difficult, and you can't tell from them working and seeing this on camera, but as the arm goes out, especially with the weight in her arm, she's going to feel a tremendous load right through this left glute. Can you feel that, Kelly? Yeah. As the bar or the weight goes out, she has to really use a tremendous amount of core to kick in, and she's going to feel that in that left glute as the bar goes out. How does it feel for you, Gina? You can still feel it. Good. Try one more. Excellent. And then pass the bar over to the other side. And Gina, we're going to start the movement again, working this side. Taking it out. You guys look good. How does the low back feel? Good. 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 So notice how still they are actually on the ball. The ball isn't moving like crazy. Perhaps Gina can show us, wobble around a little bit. So what you might find is when you're starting these, you might not be aware that your ball is doing this. So be aware. Keep that ball still. Lots of core happening with that. You got one more. Good. Bring it all the way up. And then you're going to bring your bar down, Kelly, and come all the way up. I want you to stir your ball in a circle when you come up. Release through, that releases your low back as you get that nice stir happening in here. And we're going to go back out in a second, just really unwind it. Everybody feels good through their spine? Yep. Good? And then let's try it one more time. So you're going to go out one more time. Good. And bringing the arms back up. Good. And then take that hand back out to the side. Good. So if you're using just your arms, I just want you breathing. Make sure you're breathing and you're relaxed, okay? So really putting you into, in your nervous system, a parasympathetic state. I want you relaxed. You can use your breathing to change the energy and the intention of your exercise. As the weight gets heavier and you put that weight in your hand, anytime it's heavy, you have to start thinking about how are you breathing. And as Kelly takes her arms out, and takes it all the way, she's going to exhale when she feels it's the most difficult part for her to bring that bar back. So she's inhaling out and exhaling to pull the bar back into position. And then switch the bar over for you, Kelly. Good. And changing other arm. Excellent. Try a few more reps here. Notice they still have excellent form in that second set. Good. Last three. Always assessing. Scan your body at this point. Are your abs still working for you? Have you drifted? So can Gina show me a migration? Go backwards a little bit. So she could be starting to go, she's moving. She's not maintaining her position. And then show the other version where you come center again. And then go this way, like you're gonna roll forward. Notice her knees, she's collapsing down in the move. And then come back to center. So if you're not aware of this, you could be migrating forward, backwards, to the side. So you're always policing the situation. Stay very attentive to what the purpose is of this exercise, and are you getting the most out of it? This is not the time to be thinking about what you're getting at the grocery store. Okay, bring it down and come all the way up. So with our next exercise, we're going to use a paper plate. So all you need is a paper plate. Okay. And this is called a leg slide with paper plate. And what we're going to do is put the paper plate under one foot. Okay. And I'm going to give you a stick. Now you can have your stick in the advanced version, the stick is up. And for say Gina, she's going to have her stick down. So the first part of this exercise is that they've got that paper plate under their foot. They're going to stand up nice and tall. And now they're going to begin to slide that paper plate back. So they're sliding it back, keeping that front knee over top of the ankle, and then draw it back up. Good. And then take it back out. Notice the leg is nice and long and coming back in. So you can see, so for Gina, she's using the pole for stability in this position and going back out. So we're really watching that the knee stays over the ankle. It's not migrating forward, so you don't want that thigh to start coming forward. And as you go back, you can see that they're able to keep their torso position nice and tall, so that they really using a lot of work here. And they're not letting their knee shift back and forth and back and forth. So no wobbling. Kneecap centered over first, second toe. Okay. You do not want the stable foot to collapse and pronate. So if it's pronating, it turns in and the knee comes in. One more. How does it feel, ladies? Yeah. And now we're going to switch legs. So we're going to switch legs. Start with that leg extending back. Good. And bring it back in. And take it back. Good. And back. That plate gets warm too. Getting warm toes. Good. As you coming back up, I want you to really use the intent of using the forward leg, press into the ground and draw yourself up. So you're going to press through your foot in the front leg and really fire through this whole glute to pull you back up in position. Good. One more. Good. And switch. Now we're going to go back to the other foot for a second. I want to show the bent leg version of this. So notice that had the leg going out nice and long. So now you're going to go out, and as the back leg goes back, you're going to bend the knee as it goes back. So it's going back and the leg bends backwards and comes back up. And you slide it back. The leg that's bringing you up, the most stable leg, is the front leg. So in this particular exercise, the intent that I want is that you're going to use the stable foot to draw yourself up. So as you press into that heel of your foot, you're using the whole hip and leg. You're stabilizing and you're pulling yourself up tall. Yeah. And switch. And can I turn you slightly for you, Gina, so you can demonstrate here as we go a couple more times that where the position is of that knee again. So watching that her knee stays centered right over the first, second toe as she performs that movement. Now let's switch, try it on the other side. We'll keep you there, Gina, so that I can demonstrate on this leg. So, I'm going to switch your plate. Yep, but keep you facing forward. Okay, so again, you're going to start with sliding it back, keeping that front leg bent as you go back, and pressing in through the heel, coming up tall, and going back out. Good. And take it back out. And let's notice here, so let's demonstrate how the knee could go in here. Not good. And then bring it back. So I really want it centered over that first, second toe. If I drew a line here and a line at the first, second toe with an eyebrow pencil, you'd be able to line those up and really create that perfect form. Let's try 2 more. Last 2. Good. Perfect. All right, how do you feel? Feel the work? All right, thank you for joining us. See you next time.